Hi and welcome to this live Forex strength and weakness table video. My name is John. I'll be taking you through the charts this Tuesday, the 11th of October. So here we have two tables in front of us. You can see the live Forex strength and weakness tables here. We have the trend traders table and the day traders table. These are the same studies but just on different time frames. So we can see here that on the higher time frame, the dollar is S1. The yen is S2 and the euro is S3, so that's telling us that the dollar is the strongest in the trend traders table, and on the higher time frame the yen is the second strongest and the euro is the third strongest. You can see here that some of the currencies are highlighted in green. That means there is a confluence between the two time frames. Now you can see on the day traders time frame that we've got a pretty similar image here, except the euro is not featured, so that's why it's not highlighted in green here. But we can see that the US dollar is S1, the yen is S2, the Swiss franc is S3. The weak side of things, so on the trend traders, W1 is the Australian dollar, W2 is the New Zealand dollar, and W3 is the Canadian dollar. On the day traders, we have W1 as the Australian dollar, W2 as the New Zealand dollar, and pound coming back onto the tables at W3. Now, some observations. We can see that obviously the dollar and the yen on the strong side on both, and Aussie and Kiwi on the weak side of both charts. Now, that's just kind of highlighting to me at the moment that there is a particular risk-off environment where the market is focusing on the more haven currencies opposing to risk currencies. So the risk currencies would be the likes of the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, and the Canadian dollar. And the more haven focused currencies would be dollar, yen, and the Swiss franc. And we can see that those are strong. So it's showing us that the risk-off environment in the market is apparent, and that could be driven by the escalation of sort of the violence in war between Russia and Ukraine. We've seen there's been some recent bombing of Kyiv, and that was sort of retaliation to the bombing of the bridge that connects Russia to Crimea. So there has been some escalation there, which has then prompted more risk in the markets, and the live Forex strength and weakness tables are highlighting that to us by showing us this information here. Now, if I just flip over to the Forex economic calendar for today, we can see that there's already been news announcements today. We've seen some data out to Australia and the UK. Now, if you are interested in more in-depth news analysis, then you can scroll down to the bottom of this page and you see this banner here. That'll give you a 7-day free trial to News Squawk, so well worth checking that out down through there. Going back to the live Forex strength and weakness tables, then what is it showing us? Well, it's not showing us too much change from yesterday. If I roll back to Monday, we can see that the tables are fairly similar here, with the dollar being the strongest currencies on both tables, yen following that at the S2 on both tables, Aussie being the weakest and Kiwi being the second weakest on those tables. So not much change from yesterday. So we're going to be looking at and focusing on the currencies that are highlighted in green, and we'll take a look at the lower time frame opportunities, because we've talked about the higher time frames in yesterday's video, which you can go check out after this one. So if I just minimize this, actually, let's have a little look at Aussie US dollar first. We can see that the market broke through the 0.6360 handle, and we've traded below that. Now, yesterday we highlighted the market making this new low, and that we could be expecting the price to form a lower high at some point. Now, that lower high may come in at previous areas of support. Now, looking at it from this 8-hour time frame, the recent swing lows are just through here. Now, that is, if I just take off that pen tool a second, let's just grab the crosshair. That is around 0.6417. So if you want to round that up a little bit, just to give it a more psychological level, you've got the 0 spot 64.50 handle, which runs through there. So if price was to rally through towards that 0 spot 64.50 handle, that could be an area where sellers come in and price could drive lower. Alternatively, price may react around this 0 spot 63.60, and if price does pull back and you start to see some sellers entering the market here, they may want to drive price down to the next level of interest, which is the 0 spot 60.50 handle. The 0 spot 650 handle, if I just go up to the weekly time frame, that's where you can see price has interacted with that level recently, and that's where we're expecting price to go and retest if the Australian dollar and US dollar remain on the live Forex strength and weakness tables in these positions. Going on to the next chart of interest then. So let's open up Aussie Yen. Why are we focusing on Aussie Yen? Well, Aussie is the weakest, Yen second weakest, and second strongest, sorry. And typically, when the market is in that risk off mode, where we have lots of indecision and uncertainty in the market, then the Australian dollar versus the yen can weaken significantly, and you can see that's been happening here for some time now, ever since the sort of 13th of September. The market found a top at the 98 spot 50 handle, and with prices since driven to the downside here. We've recently broken into new lows, trading through the 92 handle, coming to the 91 spot 50 handle, and then we've got a little bit of support just a little bit lower around the 90 spot 75, which is these previous lows here, and the 200 moving average. So that area there may act as support for price to form a lower high and for us to see a continuation maybe down into this 90 handle. If price does want to pull back from here, though, we could see price come a little bit higher up, and you can see that I've pointed out a low just through there, which is the 93 handle. Okay, so that could also act as a little bit of resistance for price if we were to see that pullback, and if the live Forex strength and weakness tables highlight that the Aussie yen is in similar positions. Bringing back the live Forex strength and weakness tables, then we're going to have a little look at New Zealand versus the US dollar next. So if we go and highlight that chart, again, it's very similar to yesterday. We spoke about price creating this new low, breaking through the previous structure low at the 0 spot 55.60 handle. Now, the only difference between New Zealand US dollar and Aussie US dollar is the fact that Kiwi is coming into a large time frame support point. So you can see we've highlighted the 0 spot 55 handle, and price, it looks fairly overextended into that level at the moment. So maybe Kiwi is one to stay away from slightly, because from a technical point of view, we are at key support. So what we'd want to see is price trade through that support, and that could happen because the live Forex strength and weakness tables are showing us that the New Zealand dollar is weak and the dollar is strong. So this 0 spot 55 handle may not hold aggressively, and we may not see a huge amount of support coming in. What we may see is, if I go to a lower time frame, what we may see is price come into this level, consolidate, and break down through the level. Now that would be a strong indication that price is going to seek lower prices at that point. Going to our next chart of interest then, so New Zealand yen. If I just open up the live Forex strength and weakness tables again, you can see Kiwi yen highlighted here as W2 on both of our tables here. Now if we go to Kiwi yen, fairly similar to New Zealand US dollar, although we do have a little bit more space to run down to some key areas of interest. So we have the 80 handle down through here, these previous swing lows through there. What we highlighted yesterday was the 83 handle, looking for price to potentially trade back there, find some sellers and trade back to the downside. At the moment, we are still stuck at previous swing lows just through there, which is around the 80 spot 80 handle. So what we'd want to see is either price drive higher, form a lower high, continue to trade through these lows, through this 80 handle through here. If it was to trade through that 80 handle, then the next sort of area of interest that we've marked out from a higher time frame is 76. So price could be, if it breaks through these lows here, could be on a good move for, you know, a good sort of 454 pips. I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you for watching this video update. If you are watching this at a later date and you are interested in becoming a member, please head over to www.charlesclifton.co.uk. All our links will be in the description box below. But here, if you head over to the website, we have a trial period for £1 where you can try out all our services through here. Okay, thanks for watching this video, and I hope to speak to you soon.